Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 99 of Gains, and this one is titled Brace for Impact. You followed the desk lady through the doors to the gym on the other side and nearly keeled over. There were heroes everywhere. Some you knew well, some you didn't know well, and trainers very expertly training these top-line people. You tried not to stare too much as you walked behind the lady, being led over to where Ori was on the back part of the gym on the mats again. "You're back," she greeted with a smile. "Let's get into it then. We're going to get you on the treadmill." "Okay," you nodded. Treadmills weren't so bad, maybe. You then followed Ori through another section of the gym where there were treadmills set up in glass boxes. You'd never seen a setup like this before. How unusual. Still looking at these glass boxes, you followed Ori in. "Okay, on you get. Let's get some data," she said as she gestured for you to get on the walking pad while she punched something into the screen. You waited, and then she looked at you. "Okay, this machine reads all of your output. I'm going to put some leads on you to monitor your heart rate and other things," she said as she reached for the leads and started strapping them on you and around you. "You just keep up with it, okay? I've preset the settings." Okay, you said dubiously. You had a sneaking suspicion that she had set it really high to make you fail, but you were somewhat determined to prove her wrong. "Okay, you ready?" she asked as she had checked everything. "Yep," you nodded, setting your face. "Okay," she said, and then she pressed the start button. The treadmill started up and the walking pads creaked to life underfoot, so you started walking. It continued at a walking pace for a little bit, and then it picked up and then got faster, and you could feel yourself starting to tire already. "Is it going to back off and give me a break?" you thought as you started to lag a bit. Ori was watching you, and you glanced at her. She looked like she wanted to say something but decided against it, and the machine picked up even more. "Oh man," you puffed internally, as your breathing started to become more laboured. Just a small break would have been nice, and some water, but the machine picked up again. You stumbled a little and lost your footing, lagging even more on the tread part. You looked at Ori, and although she now had her arms crossed across her chest, she still hadn't said anything. You were about to ask her for a break, but decided against it. Probably wasn't the best time to ask for that. The machine picked up one more time, and you had your mouth open, breathing raggedly, your whole body begging for a break since you had been damn near sprinting for a while now. Suddenly your left foot slipped off the back of the tread, and you hit the deck, landing painfully on your elbows and stomach as you fell face first onto the mill. The machine stopped immediately, and you rolled off the tread onto your back on the floor beside it and panted heavily. "Get up," Ori commanded. "That was the warm-up." "Warm-up?" you screamed internally. "What about that was a warm-up?" You pulled yourself up and saw the machine had printed out some data which Ori was reading. "Okay, get back on," she said without looking at you. So you hauled yourself back up again and got back on the treadmill, bent over and panting furiously. "I'm going to start this first round, and I'm going to be outside the glass," Ori said. "Good luck." You panted. Why are you going outside the box?" She didn't answer you, just walked out and stood there, lifting the first lot of paper notes to read the second set of data being presented to her. You eyed her, but then the machine beeped and started to move, so you had to focus on what you were doing instead of watching her. It started slow again, like the first time, but then picked up again and you had to brace for the speed up. "It's the same as the last time," you thought internally with dread. It sped up once more, and you could feel your legs tiring from round one on this thing. "Ugh," you groaned internally as you started to lag back. Suddenly you heard a click behind you, and you looked back to see that at some point a set of spikes had come out from the wall behind you and were fairly close to your derriere. "Whoa," you said out loud, picking up the pace immediately. You kept running, looking over your shoulder occasionally to make sure that you were keeping away from the spikes, and it took your mind off the treadmill speeding up, so much so that you didn't notice how long you had been basically sprinting for before you looked down and saw the floor had started to flood with water, and it was filling up your glass box a little. You yelled, picking your feet up as the water lapped gently over the tread and swirled around your shoes, starting to splash as it completely covered the tread section. "Ori!" you yelled, looking up at her in a panic. She hadn't looked up. "Hey!" you yelled, now starting to really panic as the water got a bit higher up and thus slowing your sprinting down. You looked back and saw the spikes were still there. "Ori! This is dangerous!" you shouted, sprinting for dear life, your lungs feeling like they were about to explode. Sobbing breaths racked your body as you did your best to keep up with the rapidly spinning mill. Thankfully the water hadn't come up too high, but it was at a depth that covered your shoes, so now you had sodden feet to lift while you're sprinting for your life. Just then, everything slowed and the machine beeped. The water started to recede, and you looked back over your shoulder to see the spikes had vanished. If you had been calmer, you would have breathed a sigh of relief, but you were so upset and annoyed that the disappearance of the threats only gave you more energy to confront Ori over it. Once the water had all gone and the treadmill had stopped, she opened the door to the box and walked over to you, not even bothering to make eye contact with you, which pissed you off even more. "What was that all about?" you asked her directly. She ignored you and waited for the machine to print off the next lot of data. "That was really slack," you piped up. "What was the point of that? What would you have done if I'd fallen over?" Ori didn't say anything, just glanced at the new data sheet and then handed both sheets to you. "Come and talk to me when you're ready," she said before turning and walking out of the box. "I'll be training with those who actually want to be here." "What the hell?" you thought with anger as you glared at her disappearing figure. Then you looked down at the results and your eyes widened. What were the results? You'll have to come back tomorrow to see chapter 100. I know, don't groan at me. I know. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Chapter 100. Be there.